Hey guys, welcome back to Guild Family Ministries tour through the book of John. Again, thank you for your support of the posts and thank you for your support of the ministry. Please leave your comments in the comments below and also share with someone if the message is encouraging you. Today we're in the book of John, chapter 11, which means we're about halfway through the book of John. So we're getting there. And I hope it's been a blessing to you all so far. Today we're talking about the famous story of the man called Lazarus, right? The man who many of you know Jesus raised from the dead. And I just want to leave you with three short points about that story. You know, in the beginning, when Lazarus becomes ill, his sisters, Mary and Martha, they write to Jesus, who was away at the time. And they said, Jesus, you know, the Lazarus who you love, our brother, he's ill. Pretty much asking that Jesus would stop what he's doing and then come right then and there and heal Lazarus, which is awesome that they had the faith to believe that Jesus could do that. But what Jesus said was that when Jesus heard this, right, he said, this illness does not lead to death. It's for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. And so just remember, my friends, sometimes in an illness or in a difficulty or in an obstacle of some sort, God has a greater purpose in it and through it. Now, that's hard when you're the one going through the illness, right? Or a loved one is going through the illness, or when you're the one facing that difficulty or that terrible obstacle. But Jesus was letting Martha and Mary know that the illness that Lazarus was experiencing was not going to end up in his death, at least not at that time. Now, it may his permanent death, I should say, it certainly did lead to his death, but Jesus had in mind a resurrection that would occur. And so remember that there's often a greater purpose in what God is doing. And where we could find strength is to have the faith and have the trust in him so that we can actually look for the greater purpose in our difficulties. Amen? And then further on, the news gets out and it gets to Jesus where he is with his disciples. And so he's having this conversation with the disciples. And they think that based on what Jesus is saying, was actually telling them that Lazarus had just fallen asleep. But Jesus told them, he said plainly, look, guys, Lazarus has died. But then these words, he says, but for your sake, I'm glad that I was not there, right? So that you may believe. And so, again, the Lord was working that out, certainly for Lazarus, certainly for Martha and Mary and his family, and Jesus himself. It says Jesus actually wept over the death of Lazarus because he loved Lazarus. But he said it was for the sake of the disciples and for the sake of every other disciple like you and like me who would come afterwards that God was working it out. There was a bigger picture at stake. And though this was a painful time, though it was an illness and then eventually a death, God was at work. God was in the middle of it. God was working it for our good and for our favor. And I just want you to remember that. I know these are tough times. I know we've just every day you turn on the news or the media and you're just getting a new report. It's another doom and gloom scenario. There's so many things going on right now. But I just want you to put your eyes on the Lord. Put your eyes and your trust in him, that no matter what is going on, no matter what the difficulties are, that he is greater than the situation, right? That he's greater than the struggle. He's greater than the difficulty. He's greater than the illness. He's greater than whatever could come in your path. And then finally, the third point, it's not finally, there's so much in these scriptures we could actually share. But I just want to share a third point, right? In verse 32, Mary actually comes to Jesus. So she came to where Jesus was and she saw him and she threw herself at his feet. And she said to him, Lord, if you had just been there, my brother would not have died. If you had just been there, you could have prevented this. And again, I give Mary and I give Martha the faith to believe that Jesus actually had the power, that yes, if he had been there, that Lazarus could have been healed and had not died in the first place. But Jesus was doing something greater than that. Jesus was going to bring him back from the dead. And the point I want to leave with you, my friends, is remember this: God is never restricted by time or by place. What Mary said was, oh, Jesus, if you had been there, then the outcome could have been different. And sometimes you may feel that God is not there, but the Lord has many names. One of them is Jehovah Shammah. And what that means is he's a God who's there, the God who's ever present, the God who's always there. And so God is not restricted by time or place. So in the difficulty, in far off lands, in a strange circumstances, something you've never seen before, something that seems odd or just something you can't even comprehend, remember, God is there. God is there. And so I just want to encourage you with that brief word today, my friend, from John chapter 11. Remember that God has a greater purpose in illness, in difficulty, in struggles. God is working it out for your good. It's for your sake that he's working in these trials and in these situations, not to be against you. But if God is for you, who can be against you? God is for you. And then finally, my friends, remember that God is not ever restricted by time, by place, by what people can do, by what people can say. I've seen it so many times in my life that people have said this or that. The circumstances have dictated this or that. And yet God comes through. He changes the circumstance. He changes the people. He changes me. Sometimes I'm the one that needed to be changed. But God is able to move in any circumstances. He's able to move regardless of time or place limitations, because he has no limitations. Amen. Amen. I hope you enjoyed that word. And remember, if you did, please leave us a like, a comment, and share with someone who needs to hear that word today. God bless you guys. Love you.